everyone, welcome back to the channel. Miss Crocheting Coffee here, and today we're doing our whipping chat, so get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. I am still working on Artemisa by Inés Guerrero and Diamond Art Club. It's coming along quite nicely, I have to say. I'm on day 8 of working on this. I took a break off working on it last night because I knew I had to go to bed early and I didn't want to get caught up saying, you know, one more color, one more thing. Let me just finish this last section. So I didn't work on it last night, and I very well could have because I was still up super late. I think I got like an hour of sleep last night. Look, listen, there is way too much going on for my brain to shut off, and I laid in bed with Mr. Coffee talking about stocks and houses and everything else. So there was that. Before I get started, I know everybody's gonna be wondering how the house view went. If you were in live on Friday, I told you I was supposed to go see a house at noon on Saturday. We never even got a chance to go see the house. Somebody put an offer on the house before we could even wake up that morning, and so I was just kind of like, okay, can we still go see it? And the lady goes, yeah, you know, if you want, you guys can still go see it, and you know, that way, just in case they can't put an offer down, you guys can put an offer down, or just in case, you know, the seller doesn't take the offer, you guys can then put an offer down. The problem is we still haven't heard back from the loan officer exactly on how much we were approved for, so we're waiting to hear back from him. So I emailed him quick and let him know, you know, this is the house we're looking to get, see if we can put an offer on today, if you can get back to me. He never got back to me. I was highly frustrated, but somebody ended up putting a bid on the house, essentially, and surprisingly, I don't know what the bid was, but apparently the seller did not take the bid, because the house is still listed, you know, for sale. It's not saying that it's being held or pending or anything like that. So I'm just like, oh. So we were going to go put a bid on the house because essentially the house had everything we were looking for except for a garage. Now, I'm not the keenest on keeping my car out in the weather, especially not here in North Dakota, because it does get extremely cold. And if you're a Patreon, you already know this, but it gets really cold to the point where your car will freeze up in the winter unless you have an engine blanket on it, which is just a device you put on your engine and then you have to plug it in, and essentially it keeps your engine warm so your car doesn't freeze up. And I had a lot of trouble with that this year because I kept wanting to leave my car out to go walk the dogs, because I would just drive the dogs over to the dog park. And so I was like, I'm not the keenest on that, but we can easily, you know, build something like a carport or some sort, you know, to make a makeshift garage. Even if it's out of the weather just a little bit, that's a little bit, you know, that I don't have to worry about it being in the weather. And so, like, our real estate lady was like, you know, are you still waiting for your loan officer to get back to you? And I'm like, yes, he hasn't contacted us back yet. Like, I was getting highly frustrated because I'm like, we're gonna lose this house. And it was a really nice house, and for some reason, all of a sudden, all the nice houses that are in the price range that we last got from the loan officer are the ones coming up for sale now. Like, it's a sign. So we're just like, you know, we got to get this guy to call us back. We tried calling, we tried emailing him, and then I remembered he did say he was going to be busy this weekend, so he probably wouldn't be able to, you know, return my call until Monday. So I was like, oh, good God. And she's like, well, did you go with the other loan officer? He could probably help. Now, the first loan officer that we talked to, now, any loan officer that you talk to for buying a house, first off, before I get to this, when I thought about buying a house any other time, if you see, and this is why it's not good to base your life off what you see on Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook people out there, and if you don't know what that means, there's a lot of people that will only show the happy aspects of their life, but will never tell you the bad aspects of their life. So you will see something on Facebook, and social media in general has a way of depressing people because you see the best of people's lives. You don't see the struggles, you don't see the tribulations that these people go to. You just see a happy picture of them, say, at the beach. What you don't see is that their lights are cut off, or that, you know, their kids are not being taken care of the best, or they're just abandoning their kids for the day to go, you know, hang out with friends. But you see them having fun, and you would just assume that, you know, oh, well, their life is perfect. Why isn't my life like that? And then it kind of gets you depressed. Same thing happened with the whole house thing. Like, I've seen a bunch of my friends randomly just buying houses lately, and I'm just like, oh, well, it must be super easy since everybody and their mama's buying houses right now. And we were told that this would be a good time to buy. Well, here, come to find out, no, this is not how this works. There's a bunch of hoops you got to jump through to buy a house. And we weren't aware of these hoops because, of course, this is our first time ever buying a house. So we're learning what all these hoops are that you have to jump through to buy a house. Look, listen, it's not fun. I don't appreciate it. The first loan officer that we had wanted us to jump through a bunch of hoops, but pretty much for pennies. And my biggest thing has been, one, I don't want to get ripped off. And two, I don't want to have to buy a fixer-upper house, meaning it needs a lot of work, but I'm forced to buy it because that's all that I can afford. Because I don't have the best credit. My credit's actually pretty good. Mr. Coffee's credit's, it's a little iffy, okay? It's a little iffy, but we've been working on his credit, and we have gotten, we've made great strides with his credit, but it's not good enough to the point where we still don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops to try to buy a house. So this process itself, if you've never bought in a house, which most of you have, but if you never bought a house, it's a lot of hoops that you have to jump through to buy a house. Especially if you're in a situation like mine where you have one person whose credit isn't the best and then the other person who doesn't have like what they consider a real job. Because of course you can't go up to a house that you want to buy and be like, look, listen, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Can I pay for this mortgage with hugs and kisses? Will a note with my daughter's handwriting on it and a cute picture she drew me for my refrigerator make the mortgage payment on this? Can I buy this house with the love and affection of my family? No? Okay. So to them, being a stay-at-home mom and even being a YouTube creator is not a good enough income. Plus, the income is inconsistent. So one month you could make $20. The next month you can make $5,000. It just depends. But it's not a good income to base your whole, look, hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. Mr. Coffee had an alarm set because he was going to get up with me this morning, but then I realized, because we have a really busy day ahead of us today, and I'll tell you about that here too. But yeah, so essentially because YouTube isn't consistent enough, we were told that they are not allowed to use my income. Now, I don't have just YouTube as an income. I have like my affiliate ships and everything else, but that's not considered a stable, regular income where, it's a decent income. It's still not something that they can use. So I'm just like, well, crap. So they have to go based off just Mr. Coffee's income. And if you've been paying any kind of attention, Mr. Coffee has been off work for the last 2 weeks. Work has been slow. So essentially he took 2 weeks off with paid time O, or paid time O, PTO, which is paid time off. He took time off because he can get paid for sitting at home, or he can go into work and possibly get 40 hours a week. So he essentially took 40 hours and turned it into a week of him having off. And then he was already scheduled for days off anyways. So right now he's not working. So his pay is just like next to nothing, which is great because then that's where my income comes in and can help supplement what he's not making. Now, can it completely cover everything that he missed? Oh, hell no. But it can help us, pay bills and everything else. So I'm just like, it's not a lot, but it can do a lot. Okay. So we're not allowed to use my income, which sucks. So we have to go based on his income. Problem is, my credit is better than Mr. Coffee's credit. So they're just like, we're going to use his credit, but we need you to do a few things just so that we can spice up his credit. So we had to essentially pay off a couple of things on we're having to pay a couple of things on Mr. Coffee's credit report and figure out what's going on with his student loans. And we figured out his student loans, and that part's okay. But our loan officer, where I really appreciate all the hard work this man puts in, he's putting in the work. He's trying to make sure he can get us the max amount of money so that we can buy a house that we really want instead of having to settle for something that we can just afford. So he's trying to do his best to try to get us the greatest amount he can, which is what's taking so long, is because he's having to finagle all these things. And so my realtor lady was just like, hey, well, if you go back and talk, because the first guy we talked to, he was like, yeah, he wanted us to jump through all these hoops, and it wasn't even for even a quarter of what the new guy that we're working with is able to get us. So we were jumping through more hoops than we are now, but for not even a quarter of what the new guy is, telling us that we're already pre-approved for. The thing is that the new guy wants us to walk up to a house with an approval letter and go, I want to make an offer with already having the approval letter instead of the pre-approval. So the old guy just wanted us to get a pre-approval and then we'll work out the rest later. I don't care what I get. I want to get something that says they can make an offer on this house if they want it. So I was a little frustrated over the weekend because we didn't hear back from my loan officer, which I'll probably hear back from him today. And he'll probably let me know, you know, hey, this is how much we can get approved for right now if you want to get approved so you can buy that house. Because the house, like I said, the house range, like the prices out here are insane. Like I can buy 2 houses for what they ask for one house here in Williston, but this is oil field country, so this isn't like a normal, like, you know, little whatever. We've thought about moving out of Williston, but that's literally uprooting the kids from school. Mr. Coffee's job is here. Like, he literally just got this freaking job, and I don't want him to keep changing jobs. So I'm just like, you know, no, we're not going to move out of Williston, which is funny because Wolfpack Diamond Painting contacted me this weekend. She's like, move to Valley City. And I'm like, what's a Valley City? And she's like, that's where I live. And I'm like, that's what I thought. I was like, I'm not moving down there. Y'all get more snow than us half the time. like Fargo and like, I'm guessing, I want to say she's down by Fargo. But down there, they get a lot more snow. Now, do they get, you know, I don't know if they get as much snow or more snow than us, but I know they get hit hard too when it snows. So I'm just like, I don't want to move there. Like if I move somewhere, I want to move somewhere where it doesn't snow as much or it doesn't get as cold. Like that's the part that kills me about Williston is that it gets so freaking cold here. Like these people be walking around like it's nothing. It's like negative 700 degrees. These people walking around with shorts and t-shirts on. This is great summer weather. Out of here. What the hell? Like, I'm not even joking. This weekend, we had high winds and it was chilly on, I want to say Saturday. I think it was Saturday. It was chilly Saturday morning. And I'm not even joking you. I seen a lady come out and I think she was still half asleep because she got a new puppy. I'm not even joking you. Like, homegirl came out of her house, bra and not bra and panties, but bra and shorts. Like she had on like booty shorts, where essentially, if you don't know what booty shorts are, it's where your butt cheeks hang out the bottom of them. And she's walking around outside in booty shorts. It's like 30-mile-an-hour winds. I'm literally watching the wind take away seagulls at this point. And she's out here with her bra on and booty shorts walking her puppy. And I'm like, yeah, that's that puppy life right there. I don't miss it. So yeah, like, I'm just like, no, I want to move somewhere where it doesn't, you know, get as cold. Mr. Coffee keeps pushing the idea of moving back to Pennsylvania because the cost of living is so cheap. But the problem is, when we lived in Pennsylvania, we were broke as hell. So I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to move back there. As much as I would love to move back to be closer to Mena again, I don't want to move back to Pennsylvania. It wasn't a good mental health place for me to live. So I'm like, I don't want to, no. So yeah, so we've been talking about that for the past couple of days. But then I decided to take it upon myself. Maggie wanted to diamond paint on the little stickers that I got from Tmall, which should be available, she said, I believe this week, in her Etsy or on her website. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, you know, if you want to do the stickers, we got to clean up this room. So I decided, because usually I don't help Maggie clean up her room. She's 8 years old. She should know how to clean up her room. She's not a baby. And I've been trying to do better at not babying her because she is my last kid. So like, I don't want to have to baby her and then spend the rest of that time, like, as she's getting older, yelling at her for doing stuff that, you know, I essentially condoned before because it was cute, and now it's not so cute anymore because I came to the realization that she's old enough to know better. So I'm trying to, like, wean her off of being babied, and, you know, she's so little, I'm trying to, like, back off and let her live her life, you know what I mean? So I go in and I go, let's clean up this room together. And I'll do little things to help Maggie because Maggie doesn't have the best attention span. So I'll be like, hey, let's play a game. So what I'll do is I'll take all the stuff that's wrong with her room and I'll put it in a gigantic pile in the middle of her room. And I'll go, okay, we're going to play Simon Says. Everything with Maggie, if you want her to do anything, has to be some kind of a game, okay? If you make it a game, she gets it done quickly without any tears. So I'm like, let's play a game. Like, I feel like Jigsaw from the movie Saw. I want to play a game, Maggie. Let's play Simon Says and see how quickly you can pick up your toys. The winner gets to play diamond painting with the owls. And she's like, oh, I want to play. And I'm like, oh, I know you do. Because I ain't playing about my goddamn own self. So I was like, okay, let's play a game. Let's get your room clean. So the first thing first, Simon Says, pick up all the clothes out of your laundry. And then I go, put them in the laundry basket. And she goes, oh, nope, Simon didn't say. I'm like, good job. Because it also helps her to listen. Because you got to pay attention to what Simon says. Because if you do the wrong thing, you lose. And I don't know what happens if you lose at this game. Because I never got that far. Because she's pretty good at playing games. She's very competitive. I think she gets that from her dad, because I'm competitive, but not in like the Maggie competitive way. Like she has to be better than everybody else. I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, again, I think she gets that from her dad, because her dad's the same way with video games. Mr. Coffee has to be better than everybody else, or he gets hella competitive. So she's just like, okay. So I was like, all right, you caught me. Simon says, get all the laundry and put it in the laundry basket. So she jumps up and she's like, I got this. Well, Mr. Coffee was out here doing something. I think he had went and walked the dogs and came back. And when he came back, he came in the room, because he usually will come in and check on the kids to see what they're up to. Orion's doing his normal, like, whatever around his room. He's like fiddling around his room. Like, he'll just walk sometimes around his room. And I'm like, you know, you're not in jail, right? Like, I think my son thinks he's in jail, 3 hots in a cot. Because, like, I will catch him just walking in circles in his room. And I'm like, what? Why are you doing that? And he's like, I don't know. I just wanted to do it. Okay. Or he'll, like, just people watch. Like, he'll open up his blinds and look outside to watch people outside whenever they're outside. And I'm like, you know you can go out there, right? And he goes, I like it better in here. I don't blame you, dude. I feel the same way. Like, I don't want my son to be a hermit, but I understand the hermit life, okay? So I'm just like, you know, all right. Unfortunately, he can't be a hermit for too much longer, because he has testing today. They have state testing today, which is why you heard Mr. Coffee's alarm going off. Again, give me a second. I'll get to that. So we're sitting in her room cleaning up. Mr. Coffee comes in. And Mr. Coffee, if he sees me helping the kids clean, he will clean. So he comes in. He goes to try to, like, you know, help me straighten out the closet, because I was getting the closet straightened out. He picks up a box. And he's like, what the hell? And he, like, tosses it down and looks at Maggie, and then he looks at me. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Is there a bug in it or something? Me thinking, if there's a bug in this room, I'm bleaching everything. I will just throw a bleach bomb in this room and scrub every ounce of these walls, this bed, this closet. I don't care. What is it that you just saw? I'm freaking out. And he's like, you weren't joking? I'm like, I wasn't joking about what? And he goes, there's a box of body parts in here. And Maggie goes, oh, Daddy, that's for when I play Barbie Mashup. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, yeah, Jordan, that's for when she plays Barbie Mashup. Me having no clue what the hell Barbie Mashup is. I'm just like, yeah, Maggie, why don't you explain to Daddy what Barbie Mashup is? In reality, I'm like, yeah, what the hell is Barbie Mashup? I don't know what the hell that means. And she's like, well, that's for whenever I want to play Barbies, but my Barbie isn't what I want her to look like, so I take pieces away from her to make her look like what I want her to look like. She's an evil genius, y'all. She's an evil genius. So if she wants her Barbie to be tan, she will give it tan legs and arms. Why she couldn't just use the tan Barbie in general, I don't know. Maybe she just didn't like her hair. What if she wants her tan Barbie to have red hair? Which is apparently why, if you watched live on Friday, you would have seen that Barbie with the tan legs and arms, which ended up turning out to be Anna from Frozen. It's because she wanted her tan Barbie to have red hair. So she mashed up 2 Barbies to make Anna have red hair, but, you know, tan arms and limbs. And I was like, you know what? It's your world. Do your thing, boo-boo. And Mr. Coffee's like, she legit is, like, taking body parts off these Barbies and putting them together. I'm like, yeah, it's Barbie Mashup, hun. How did you not hear what she said? Like, this sounds fun as hell. Why did I get distracted from cleaning, and her and I sat in there playing Barbies for 2 hours? Look, listen, we're not going to talk about it. We finally did get the room clean, but good God, yeah, we played Barbie Mashup for a while. It was a lot of fun. I'm not even going to lie. Like, just piecing together Barbie parts and making your own Barbie. It's like, make your own Barbie. It's like, if Build-A-Bear has Build-A-Bear, then Barbie Mashup should be what they have for Barbies. Because, like, literally, like, I had the most decked out Barbie. She had, like, the strongest legs. And she had, like, one buff arm and one little arm. I'm not going to tell you that one arm belonged to a dude. But look, listen. They were moving furniture and I needed her to be strong. So I had to pull guy arms out of the box and put them on my girl Barbie. And it was a lot of fun. And then I went, okay, we got to get back to cleaning up your room, Maggie. So we get back to cleaning up her room. And I see where Maggie gets her short attention span from, because we weren't cleaning up her room but 10 minutes before we went back to playing Barbies again. Look, listen, Sunday came, we cleaned up the room. And I was like, well, I can't play Barbie Mashup with you today. I have to get videos recorded for next week, because I usually try to record videos on Sundays and Mondays, edit on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then, like, you know, do my thing. So I'm sitting there, and forgive me if I sniffle a lot in this video. I'm going to like take care of that in a few minutes. But for some reason, when I woke up this morning, my nose was really like congested, and now all of a sudden it's just gross. Anyways, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I need to record videos, so I'm going to go ahead and start recording videos. Why is it that every time I get sit down to record videos, somebody needs something out of me? I usually have a schedule with the kids. So from I get up at 8:30 usually on most days. I usually get up at 8:30, and so from 8:30 until 1 o'clock is kid time. So anything they have going on with school, or anything like that, I'm right there with them, and I'm like, what do you need? What do you need help with? What do you want me to do? What do you need me to do? You know, what do you need? 1 o'clock comes, and that's when I start recording videos. Maggie will come out, and she'll be like, Mom, it's Taco Tuesday. Like right in the middle of my videos. Mom, it's Taco Tuesday. It is Wednesday Tootsie. Oh. Orion will come out. Mom, can I get lunch? It's 2 o'clock. Can I get lunch? Do you not see do you not see me? Like, I'll look at Mr. Coffee like, you see me? And he's like, yeah, I see you. I'm like, so you see me, but does he see me? Like, does he see what I'm doing over here? Does he not understand what this is? Like, what this is, what's going on, what's going down in the drive? And he's just like, one, I don't think he understands the word that you're saying. Two, I don't think he paid attention to whether or not you're recording. Now, they know I'm recording, but they don't care. They want what they want when they want it. And I'm just like, you're going to have to practice patience, buddy, because you're going to have to wait till after mommy's finished recording. And he's like, oh, okay. How long is that going to be? However long it takes me after this conversation to record. Oh, okay. So then when you're done with that, like, Orion needs things broken down to the smallest molecule before he leaves you alone. And I'm like, I love my son. I will hurt you if you don't go away. And he's like, okay, so I'll just wait for lunch when you're done then. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate it. Like, you could have just did that 20 minutes ago, but okay. So then I'm sitting down here yesterday, and I go, okay, I want to record a couple of Cricut mug press videos because I have some really cool, like, cute ideas. I started working with glass mugs because I was asked to work with glass mugs. So I'm hoping that I will have a video up for you this week. If I don't, I will have one up for you whenever my new Cricut mug press gets here. Because if you did buy the Cricut mug press, do know that you have a 1-year warranty on your mug press, and this is why it's so important. So I'm sitting down and I make 2 mugs yesterday, and I was super excited because I was nervous because I'm like, what if the glass breaks while I'm in the middle of recording my freaking video? I'm going to test this. So I will do a test run on the Cricut mug press before I do the actual video, just so I know what I'm doing. I'm not sitting there trying to blindly lead the blind. So I make the 2 mugs, and I'm like, all right, this is going to go great. This is going to do perfect. Everything will be fine. I go to make the video. I'm 10 minutes into the video. My mug press starts throwing an error code. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's overheated because we did have our space heater on because it was really, really cold yesterday. So I'm like, maybe it just overheated and I need to let it, cool down. Well, for 2 hours straight, it kept throwing this error code. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I literally just got this thing. There's no way in hell it's broken, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what happened to it? Like, what's going on? Well, I go on Cricut's website, I look at the troubleshooting, I do the troubleshooting, I update the firmware because they do have firmware updates for it. Any heating press you get from Cricut will have a firmware that you can update, and it has like a little USB cord in the back of it so that you can, update the firmware. Well, I updated the firmware, no problem. But it kept shooting this error code, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So I go to their troubleshooting, because they actually did have troubleshooting out. Now, if you remember, this mug press is only a month or 2 old. Like, it just came out not too long ago, like the beginning of March, I want to say. So I'm thinking, what could I have done? Because I don't use it, like, consistently enough. Like, I think at most, I've made 3 cups in a row, and that's about it. Or maybe, like, 5 can cozies. And everything worked fine. It was great. But for some reason yesterday, it was just like, nope. I was getting so frustrated. So I'm sitting there like, I had to pause the video, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, why is this not working? I checked the troubleshooting, and it's like telling me that, what was it? Because indicator lights will come on. You have to pay attention to which light comes on so that depending on the light, it'll tell you the error code. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, all right. what light is coming on. So it's the third light. So it's telling me that there's an unusual object in the mug press. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at the mug press, like I'm looking at it with my own two retinas. There was nothing in the mug press. There hadn't been anything in the mug press for at least an hour. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I haven't really put anything in there that's unusual that cannot be put in there. So I'm like, what? And I was actually sublimating mugs. Like, I had 3 different types of mugs. So I'm like, what is this thing doing? Like, I don't understand why it is that I can't sublimate a mug. And it's not even in there. It's telling me that there's a foreign object in there, but there's no foreign object. I'm shaking it. I'm looking inside of it. There's nothing in there. But it kept shooting this error code. And I'm like, God dang it. So I contact Cricut, which of course, it's Sunday. So why is it things only break on the freaking weekends? So it's Sunday. So I'm just like, crap. So now I have to wait until today to get a hold of Cricut so I can use my 1-year warranty to either A, have them fix my machine, or B, send me out one that is working, and then take mine and go fix it and refurbish it or do whatever they want to do with it. So I'm like, God dang it. So that happened, and then I ended up sitting here going, okay, I have other videos I can make, but I wasted so much time trying to get this goddamn Cricut to work that I'm losing daylight. Like, I wanted to do tips and tricks for squares. And, you know, I was going to make that a short little video for this week. And then I needed to do the coloring book flip through, which you would have seen yesterday. So I was like debating on which one of those I wanted to do. And I'm like, you know what? We'll do the coloring book flip through, because I was supposed to unbox those books like 2 months ago. They like the company sent those out to me, and then they told me to hold off and wait to post the video because they had their new subscription service coming out, and they wanted to wait so that I could mention the subscription service. And I was like, all right, no problem. Problem is, then I lost the package that the stuff came in. Look, listen, I have outgrown my living space, so like everything's like cluster messed in here, and I'm just like, oh my God. So I spent another 15-20 minutes looking for the box with the coloring books in it so that I could do that video. So I had wasted a lot of daylight yesterday trying to do that, the videos that I did do. So I was like, oh God dang it. So I did the unboxing for Distracted by Diamonds, and I did the coloring book flip through, but those were the only 2 videos I was able to record yesterday because of the Cricut mug press going down, and then having to look for the coloring books for that coloring book flip through. So I was a little upset, and Mr. Coffee is like, well, why don't you just relax? Because, you know, it's going to be a stressful week as it is. It's going to be a stressful week this week because the kids have standardized testing this week. So instead of, like, Orion usually tests here at the house. He's never had to leave the house to do testing. Now all of a sudden he has to leave the house. He doesn't just have to leave the house for the day. He has to leave the house for the next 3 days. So the next 3 days, Orion will be going to school for at least an hour every day. And I'm like, oh, good God. Now, Orion's not the biggest fan of leaving the house because he has asthma, and he's worried because he knows the people around here don't take the virus seriously, and he's worried he's going to get sick. So I'm just like, don't worry, you'll have your mask, you'll be fine. We'll get you, you know, your own water bottle to take with you, and hand sanitizer. Luckily that I have such great, amazing subscribers. We had gotten sent hand sanitizer from a subscriber, and he's taking that with him to hang off his backpack. And I'm like, see, you will be just fine. Just make sure to cover your mouth if you sneeze, cover your nose or your face as well. If you have any problems with your breathing, you'll have your asthma pump in your backpack. I'm like, you will be just fine. So got his nerves calmed. Now I'm like, who's going to calm my nerves? I don't like the fact of my kid leaving the house just yet. Because I'm a helicopter mom. I'm one of those moms, hashtag no shame. I'm one of those moms. I don't like leaving my kids for long periods of time. I don't even like when my kids go to school. And then I learned this year, I don't like homeschooling either. So like, they can't just not get education. So I'm just like, I'm going to have to choose one or the other, because I can't love having them gone and love having them home at the same time. Like, that doesn't work. But luckily they only have like a month. I think today, no, what's today? I think today's like the 19th. Because I'm recording this Monday morning. Like, it's literally like not even 9 a.m. Monday morning. I got up early because Orion had to get up early for class because they're getting ready for their test today. So, like, I'm not ready for him to quite leave the house yet. And so, like, I'm like, who's going to calm my nerves now? So, yeah, like, it's one of those things where I love the fact that they're getting ready to get out of school soon. Like, I think Saturday marks exactly 1 month that they have left in school before school's out. Now, my kids get out super early because of the fact that they don't have snow days, because these are a different breed of children. These aren't just normal everyday children. These are winter gangsters. You've heard of Winter Soldier. Come to North Dakota and you will meet tiny winter gangsters. If you don't know what a tiny winter gangster is, it's these little kids you see playing outside in the middle of winter in North Dakota like it's nothing. Like they'll have on short sleeve shirts and with their jackets tied around their waist playing outside. And I'm like, these here are people, little tiny humans training to be winter soldiers. But right now they're just little winter gangsters because they're just right. I watched a boy ride his bike in that windstorm that we had where we got the snow. I saw a little boy riding his bike. He didn't even care that the wind was pushing him backwards. He was riding his bike, okay? These are winter little tiny human gangsters. I cannot relate to this. I am not used to this. I actually had a lady look at me the other day when I took the dogs out to the dog park, and she's like, "Do you always dress like that when you come out here?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "Is there any particular reason?" And I'm like, "No. Why? Does it bother you?" And she's like, "Oh, no, I was just curious because I see you come out here all the time and you're always dressed in a big coat with a hat and you kind of cover your face and everything." I'm like, I like to keep a low profile. Now, is there any particular reason why I'm doing this? There's a couple of different mental reasons why I do this. I always cover I'm a very modest person. I've never been the type to like, dress scattily where like my boobs are hanging out or anything like that. I don't mind looking cute. But looking cute doesn't mean having half my ass cheeks hanging out or anything like that. So I'm very modest when I dress anyways. But when it comes to living in North Dakota, look, listen, until it hits 70 degrees, I'm wearing a winter jacket with winter boots, with sweatpants, with thermals, with a hat, with a cover over my face, and sunglasses. And I also will have on gloves. And she's like, "You don't get hot in that?" I'm like, "Nope." I'm like, I'm a different breed. I'm a summer soldier. I come from I come from the southern states. So this is nothing to me. Being in a winter jacket and 40 degrees is nothing. Where most of the time you will see these people around here at 40 degrees, they will be walking around without jackets on. I'm walking up and down the street in my winter jacket, my winter boots, my snow pants with my thermals with my sweatpants on top of them. I don't even care. I don't care. Am I hot? No. But there's a couple of other different little reasons why I do this, but mostly it's because, I'm cold and I'm Southern. So I'm used to like my winters being like 60, 70 degrees. So to me, that's cold. So like my children are also in training to become these winter gangsters that they have around here. And, I don't appreciate like Maggie. It's like she doesn't even have a temperature gauge anymore. I've been like coddling Maggie because she has problems. Maggie still has problems regulating her body temperature correctly. So when it gets too cold out, we usually don't let her outside. But lately we've been loosening the reins to let her tell us that she's too cold to go outside. And then we have quickly realized that Maggie is not going to tell us that she's too cold to go outside. Because if she wants to go outside, she wants to go outside. She's been fighting the wind. She's been fighting like tumbleweeds. The funniest thing about this is Maggie will go outside and it never fails. It never freaking fails. Every time this child goes outside, the wind is blowing really heavy and a tumbleweed. And tumbleweeds, if you don't know, are dead sage bushes. And apparently people around here sell them on eBay for like $500. And I'm like, who the hell's out here buying tumbleweeds? And Mr. Coffee's friend, his work boyfriend, was the one that told me this. And he's like, yeah, people around here will, gather them up and sell them. And I'm like, sell them? Am I in the wrong business? $500? Okay, if you would like a tumbleweed for $500, you let Miss Coffee know right now, because I will go outside, put Maggie out there like bait. Because I swear, every time a tumbleweed sees Maggie outside, it's like the Wild Wild West meets Maggie. But the Wild Wild West is winning because every time she goes outside and the wind's blowing really heavy, a tumbleweed comes out of nowhere. And they usually do. There's no like, hey, this tumbleweed came from over there. No. Usually you'll go from seeing no tumbleweeds to a tumbleweed will just randomly come out and attack you. It doesn't care if you're in your car. It doesn't, like, I've been driving and the wind was blowing really hard, and I've seen a tumbleweed roll over the top of my car, scared the living piss out of me because I thought it was a person. I pulled over to the side of the road to see it, and it's just a tumbleweed, and it just keeps rolling down the street. I felt like it gave me the middle finger, but that could just be my imagination. But I'm just saying, like, tumbleweeds come out of nowhere, and you're just sitting there like, what the hell? So every time she goes outside, she's getting belted in the head by a tumbleweed, because she ain't but so tall. Like, she's tall for her age, but the tumbleweeds are taller. So, like, she'll get belted in the head with a tumbleweed, and you'll just see her, like, every once in a while, she'll fall over, and she'll jump up. I'm okay. All right, as long as you're okay. Like, we'll keep an eye on her, but we're not going to go out and run out and, like, oh my God, Maggie, are you? Like, I used to do that when it first started happening, and then I realized that the sage bushes here just love her and want to give her hugs on their way out of town, so I'm just like, you know, do your thing, boo-boo. I ain't going to stop you. Who am I to tell you what you can and can't do? Anyways, so yeah, so the kids have standardized testing today. The thing is, though, I have this bad habit. I don't have a good memory. And I'm learning how bad it is. Rachel said I was upset with her this weekend, and I was like, I was upset with you? Like, I don't remember getting upset with Rachel. And she was apologizing to me, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, chick? And she's like, you were upset. I'm like, I was upset? About what? Now, one of the good things you guys need to know about bipolar disorder, at least mine's, I have very frequent mood swings, meaning my mood can change in 2.35 seconds, okay? Like that, and I have dissociative disorder, essentially, where I don't have feelings towards a lot of things. Like, I have feelings towards, like, my husband, of course, and, like, my kids. But, like, a lot of the things that happen that, you know, I get upset about, I'll get super overly dramatically upset about stuff, and then 10 seconds later, I won't care. I just won't care. And so she said I was mad at her, and I'm like, I don't remember what I was mad at you for, but okay. Something about a mug, and I was just like, I don't know. I have down here to make you a new mug since yours came broken, but I don't know which. I still have no clue. Like, I asked Mr. Coffee, and he's like, I don't remember you saying you're upset with Rachel. I'm like, I don't either. I think she's going crazy. Anyways, so I'm sitting there, and I don't have the best memory. And so when I set up the kids' like, you have to set up a time frame for your child to go do their testing, especially since they're homeschooled. Now, the schools around here have dropped the mask mandate for the children, which is another reason why Orion's not the keenest on going back to the school, is because he knows he's going back to a school with kids that are not masked. And there's nothing that I can do about it because it's his standardized testing and he has to do it at the school. They have to watch him do it. So I'm like, there's nothing I can do in this situation to help him. So I kind of feel helpless. But in the same sense, I'm like, you know, he will be fine. He's only going there for like an hour. And I'm probably just going to sit in the car and crochet or draw while he's in there. So I'm sitting there, and I apparently had to make the appointments. I made the appointments. I didn't remember whose appointment was when, or because Maggie also has standardized testing, and she also has to go to school. The problem with this is the two teachers that teach my children, or the three, because Maggie has two teachers. Maggie has a teacher assistant and then a teacher. But my children go to Hagen. Okay, Hagen Elementary is where their homeschool is, like where their base school. So if they were going to regular school, they'd go to Hagen. But Orion has to go to a different school, and then Maggie has to go to a completely different school than that. Neither one of those schools are Hagen. So I made 2 appointments for the kids, one for Orion, one for Maggie. Orion's appointment was at 12:30, and then I also scheduled Maggie's appointment for 12:30. So essentially, they both had to be at their separate schools on separate parts of town at 12:30. The only saving grace I have is the fact that Mr. Coffee's off work. So Mr. Coffee's going to take a kid, I'm going to take a kid, and then we're going to sit in the car and take naps. Why? Why is it as an adult you value naps so much more better, that's horrible English. You value naps so much more better. I don't even care. You value naps better now than you did when you were a kid. When you were a kid, you were afraid to miss everything. As an adult, you're like, I don't care if I miss everything. Okay, let me sleep. Okay, you can't get enough sleep as an adult. As a child, you never want to go to sleep. As an adult, I'm like, let me sleep and get up. Like, can I redeem sleep from when I was a kid? Like, is that a thing? We're going to take naps because we stayed up all night talking and giggling and being like 2 little schoolgirls, sitting up, you know, playing on our phones, listening to stuff. We just got a weighted blanket, and Mr. Coffee's like, do you like the bed better now with the weighted blanket. Look, listen, I believe that my bed is some kind of a whore. You heard right. It's a whore. I don't like the fact that my husband sleeps and he's smiling in his sleep. He wakes up and he's not in pain. I love that part. He loves the mattress, but that mattress is a cheating whore. Anything that makes my husband smile that much, I want to fight it, but I can't fight a mattress. So, yeah, then I just look ridiculous trying to punch this memory foam mattress. It doesn't remember anyways. So, like, every night I lay there and I'm like, it's like, I try to throw, like I used to throw the kids on the spring mattress and they would bounce up and the bed was just like, it was like the bed was playing with us. It was just like, yay, the bed. But now, I threw Maggie on the bed the other day and she just sits straight up and she's just like, oh, I forgot it doesn't bounce anymore. And I'm like, see, it's not fun anymore. And she's like, it's still fun. It's still comfy, mommy. I'm like, it's not that comfy. Well, we ended up getting a 20-pound weighted blanket because it's something that Mr. Coffee has always wanted, and they had it on sale for like $65. So I was like, yes, please. And he's like, can we get a 50-pound? No. Look, listen, you ever try to walk through syrup? Of course not. Who has, right? Right. That's what it feels like whenever you're trying to turn around in bed now. Like, you ever just toss and turn in bed and you're flopping the blankets all over the place? Try doing that with a 20-pound blanket. Let me tell you right now, I'm going to be super beefy when it comes time for summer to hit. Y'all going to see all these gains because having to toss that blanket back and forth. Look, listen. I'm going to be super beefy and I don't want to hear anything about anything because I'm going to be chubby in the waist, cute in the face, and super beefy in the arms because that blanket, good God, between my legs and my arms, I should be massively beefy. So Mr. Coffee still loves the bed. I'm still a little iffy on the bed, but, you know, I digress. But the kids have, you know, testing today, so I decided, you know, I had to get up early anyway with Orion to get him ready for school because his classes started 15 minutes earlier than they normally do. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. I also don't think it's fair that they have to do testing for however long at the school. I'm only guessing it's an hour. I don't know how long it's going to be. I was actually going to take the phone and take and record my whip and chat in the car. And then I realized, no, I don't have the best angle in the car to be recording videos. And it's not like I can diamond paint in the car. So I probably would have just crocheted. But I'm going to take a nap because I got like an hour of sleep. I'm not tired now. Right now, I'm wired. I'm wide awake. I'm just like, let me get in there. But, yeah, no, I need sleep. I'm going to pass out in the car. And I'm going to sleep until he gets done with class. And then I'm going to be sitting there waiting for him to get out. Mr. Coffee's going to do the same thing. The problem is we had to play rock, paper, scissors. Because I don't know which kid I want to go with. I don't like choosing between things. Ever since we moved here and I had to choose between which dog I wanted to leave with my parents and which one's got to come with us, I don't like choosing when it comes to the kids. So, like, even though it's something as stupid as which kid is taking which kid, or which one of us is taking which kid to which school, I don't want to choose because I feel like if I don't choose one of them, that means I don't love them anymore. So I'm like, I would take Orion. I'm like, but you can't handle Maggie. And he's like, I can handle Maggie. No, you can't. Mr. Coffee has the shortest fuse on the planet. So, like, he's not used to dealing with the kids. So then when Maggie plays her little games where she doesn't know anything and you have to, like, you know, hype her up to do her schoolwork, Mr. Coffee doesn't understand this concept and it turns into him just yelling at himself. And I say yelling at himself because she's not paying any attention to him. I've literally watched him yelling at himself for 20 minutes the other day. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm yelling at your daughter. And he looks over at the table and Maggie's gone. And he's like, where did she go? I'm like, she left 20 minutes ago, dude. You've been sitting here talking to yourself for 20 minutes. And he's like yelling for her to get back out here. And she goes, Daddy, I'm already done with my work. And I'm like, yeah, she already finished her work. What are you fussing about? He's like, because she wasn't paying attention to what her teacher was saying. I'm like, hun, she wasn't in class. He didn't realize it, but she was watching a video that her teacher made for her to do her work assignment. She completed the work assignment, and he thought she was still in class with one of her teachers. And I'm like, no, she's not in class anymore, honey. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, you just spent 20 minutes yelling at yourself because nobody was here to pay attention to you. Mr. Coffee also has testing this week. For his classes, he's still doing really good in his classes. He has learned how to essentially build an app using codes, which he keeps trying to tell me this. And does anybody else's spouse have a job or do a profession that when he tries to explain it to you, or when they try to explain it to you, you're just like, and your brain shuts down and it farts out your ear and you see smoke starting to come out. That's what it's like when Mr. Coffee tries to tell me about what he does for school. He's going for app development. So he wants to be able to build apps, which is great. Wonderful. Building apps. He's a gamer. He likes building apps. Whatever. He's a nerd. That's what they do. It's hot. So he's trying to explain to me what he's doing. I have zero clue. Meanwhile, I can hear the smoke pouring out of my ears. And between that and him talking about Dogecoin and the stock market, look, listen, I've had enough. I'm thoroughly convinced that there is a conspiracy among teachers that they tell you, like, do you remember being in school and your teacher telling you that you're not always going to have a calculator in your pocket? And here it is, the year 2021, and we do have calculators in our pockets. We just don't call them calculators. We call them cell phones. I'm highly convinced that teachers changed math so that you couldn't use your calculator to do the math problems anymore, which is why you can't, like, the math seems so convoluted and difficult, is because they don't want you to be able to use your calculator anymore. Because their little saying doesn't work anymore, where you're not going to always have a calculator in your pocket. Watch what you say, because somebody's going to invent, like, who invented the calculator on the phone anyways? There's somebody out there that's real salty, had a really bad math teacher that said this to him, and he goes, all right, bet, hold my juice cup, I got this, and he made the calculator app for the phone. Like, there's somebody out there with a salty story about a teacher that is just going to blow everybody's mind, that's the reason why he created the calculator on the phone. So, like when Maggie and them bring me math problems, I'm thinking, well, I can just pull it up on the calculator. And they're like, no, mommy, you have to go through the entire alphabet before you get the actual answer to this problem. And I'm like, we're going to use the calculator. I don't know what the hell y'all are doing. I even told her teacher, I'm like, look, listen, I think you guys are doing a great job, seeing as how you guys had to, quickly adjust to doing homeschooling and everything else. I don't think that she should have changed classes the way she did, mostly because she loved her teacher, and now she doesn't have her teacher anymore. He's working at the school, which I'm not sure how they convinced him to work at the school, because he was retired. So he was only helping them out for homeschooling because he got to do it from home. And somehow they talked him back into going back to work. And I'm like, that dude enjoyed his retired life. What the hell? Like, y'all tricked him. That's not nice. But, like, I applaud you guys for, adjusting the school life so well. But what I'm not about to do is teach my daughter this convoluted math and then tell her she can't, like, they were trying to tell the kids that they can't use their fingers. She has 10 toes too. That's fine. I'll tell her to take her shoes off. I don't give a crap. I'm not about this life with that new math. I'm not about it. I'm like, it's bad enough that y'all ain't teaching my kids cursive, but you know what? There ain't nothing saying that I can't teach my goddamn own kids cursive. And then I go into Orion's room, and then I see a book that talks about showing your child how to write in cursive. He was practicing cursive, and I'm like, where'd you get that book? Because I know that I was hearing all over the place that they had stopped teaching cursive in school. And he goes, my teacher gave it to me. I'm like, are y'all learning cursive? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, okay. Y'all, my son just came out here and cursed at me. Look, listen, this kid just said part of his assignment today was to create a math problem that your parent has to solve. I feel attacked. I feel highly attacked. This is a conspiracy among these teachers that they are trying to make me lose my ever-loving mind. And it's funny because Mr. Coffee's like, if you had the chance to homeschool them next year, would you? I'm like, would the virus still be a thing? Like, is that part of this equation? And he's like, if the virus disappeared, and I'm like, I didn't even let him finish the sentence. I'm like, those kids will be in school the next day. The next day. Look, listen, I love my kids. I love having them home. I love them helping me with the videos, which they'll be doing that over the summer now too. But I hate homeschooling. I hate it so much. I can't stand it. I applaud every teacher. Like, my children aren't bad for their teachers. They're just bad for me. But they're not bad for their teachers. So, like, Maggie's little evil ways, she's a little evil genius, but she's not really like that, with her teachers. She's really good for her teachers. But for me, no. I was not cut out. I was not built for this. I was built like a Chevy, not like a Ford. I wasn't built for this. So, no, they can take their happy little asses right back to regular school next year, which they're going to have to anyways, because we were told that they are no longer offering the option of online learning because of the fact that they've lowered, or they've taken away the mask mandate. And so they've gone exactly 1 full month without a case popping up at the school. So they took the mask mandate away, and they're like, oh, but if your child would still like to wear a mask to school, they can, but it's not obligated that they have to. Like, they're not going to be enforcing that they have to. And I'm like, I've driven by that school numerous times and didn't see any kids wearing masks when they were out for recess anyway, so I don't see what the big deal is. But okay, that doesn't make me feel any safer. And I'm kind of hoping that the kids go to this other school anyways, because one of the houses that we are looking at, we have a couple of houses on deck that we're looking at that are in our price range and that we're excited about. And we'll probably go see those, but I'm not going to go look at any more houses until we have that loan letter in hand stating what we have to work with. And so I'm really hoping that the kids get to go to this other school, because we've been to this other school before, because every time Maggie has testing, she has to go to this school, and the kids always have their mask on. They're always, spaced a good amount apart. Like they play recess in quadrants now, instead of like the whole school being outside at the same time. So I really hope that we get them to this other school. Sorry, y'all, my nose is driving me crazy right now. But yeah, so that's essentially how this weekend went. It was a pretty decent weekend. I did get to set up Maggie with her stickers, and Orion was going to help her, but then, like, I guess Skylar or somebody, one of the kids that he plays with, gets on, and he's like, oh, gotta go. So he didn't diamond paint with her, so she was kind of sad. So window friend came down, and she's like, I'll diamond paint with you. And she's like, you promise not to be a butt? And I'm like, Maggie, that's not nice. And she goes, well, Mom, you wouldn't call her a butt, but she's always being a butt. And if she's not going to behave herself, then she can take her tail right back upstairs. And I'm like, tell her, Maggie. You tell her. And she's like, I promise to behave myself. So window friend comes down and diamond paints with Maggie, and she sees Maggie has some new pens, and Maggie's like, you be nice to my pens. People make these special for me, and I don't want them broken. And window friend's like, I promise not to break your pens. Now, she didn't break any of the pens. She didn't break her new tray or anything. She got the tray from Audrey from I can't say the name of the place or her shop because it's in French. I don't French. Hablo en español un poco. Like, I don't do French. I do a little bit of Spanish, and that's about it. So, like, I can't think of the lady's name, but they're like the little pastel colored trays. And Maggie, like, fell in love with them because they're perfect size for her because she has tiny little hands. And then I gave her the lockables in the Star Ore form, and she was just, like, over the moon. She had her own little setup. And I even have, like, a whole little bag for her to put all the stuff in. Not my Sparkle Queen bag. That's my bag. But she got another bag that I made just for her with, like, all her diamond painting accessories in it. She feels like such an experienced diamond painter. Well, they diamond painted just for a little bit, and then they went upstairs to go play. And I'm like, don't worry. I'll clean up your mess. That's fine. So yeah, so she got to work on her little owls yesterday, and we were telling the kids that they were going to have to go to bed at a good time last night. But I started playing this game with the kids, or at least with Orion, because I want to see how well this works. Orion is in love with the sleeping gummies because for the longest time there, Orion was having trouble sleeping. And I told him it's because, I'm like, maybe you're getting too much screen time. You need to, the last 2 hours before bed, you need to spend those hours getting ready for bed, cleaning your room, and making sure you're ready for the next day, get your clothes set out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we decided last night, okay, let's go ahead and put this into full effect. You have testing for the next 3 days. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you get off your video games at 8 o'clock. And then from 8 until 9:30, we'll have you straightening up your room, getting a shower, getting yourself ready for the next day, making sure you pack your book bag with everything you're going to need, blah, blah, blah. And he says, fine. So he does all that. And I'm like, again, I feel like Jigsaw because I'm like, hey, Ryan, you want to play a game? And he's like, okay. So I was like, Maggie comes in. She goes, I want to play a game because, of course, again, she's competitive. And I'm like, okay, let's play a game. I'm going to give you this. And I hold my hand out and there's 2 pieces of candy in my hand. And I'm like, but Orion, you have to read a story to Maggie. Now, they never get snacks or anything that late at night. So they were like over the moon. And I'm like, but there's a catch. But I made sure to watch them eat it first before I told them. And I was like, those are sleeping gummies. And they both look at each other and then look at me and they're like, Mom. I'm like, let's see who can outlast the other. Now, Orion takes the sleeping gummies like every other day, just because he does have trouble sleeping. Maggie's her father. She touches the pillow, she's asleep. Okay, she's out for the count. She's out for the night. You can go in her room, and I do this all the time. You can go in her room, turn her light on, mess with stuff in her room, and like we have flipped her bed around because her bed is part of a bunk bed set. So she has a rail on her bed. So we have flipped her bunk bed around while she was in it, asleep, and she didn't budge. When my kids are asleep, look, they're asleep. Okay, they're not waking up. So Orion had gotten to the point where when he was asleep, he wasn't sleeping so heavily, and he would be exhausted in the morning. So the sleeping gummies seemed like a good idea since they didn't work on me. And I learned that 3 to 4 gummies will work on me, whereas only 1 works on Orion. And then I realized I apparently have been giving my children adult gummies. They do make children gummies, but apparently I didn't realize this because I've never taken this medication before, which it's all natural, so it won't hurt them or anything. But I have been giving them like adult gummies, and I'm like, well, I can't give them kid gummies now because their body's just going to laugh at it. Like, they go from adult gummies to kid gummies? Like, what the hell? So I'm like, plus, there's only like a 2.5 milligram difference between the kids and the adults. So I'm just like, I think they'll be all right. Plus, Maggie rarely ever gets them, and Orion only gets them at like every other day, and then we'll switch it up the week after that because I don't want his body to get used to it. So yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, let's see who can outlast the other one. Well, Maggie's sitting there in Orion's room listening to him read, and she won't stop messing with him and like just being a terror for some reason. I couldn't figure out why. I was just like, what is your deal? Why are you acting like that? And she's like, I don't know. I'm just tired. I'm gonna go lay down. She lasted 3 minutes, okay? I'm like, you didn't even get the gummy chance to work. Like, she was just like, I'm out. It was like 9:15. She's like, I'm out. She goes and lays down, immediately just falls asleep. I was like, 1 down, 1 to go. Now, Orion likes to play Let's Fight the Sleeping Gummy, but he always loses. So, like, the other day I gave him a sleeping gummy. I think it was Saturday I gave him a sleeping gummy. I give him the sleeping gummy. Sorry, that's Daisy climbing up on the couch over here. I give him a sleeping gummy. We find him passed out in his room, sleep on the floor with the game controller. I'm like, let him sleep where he lies. We are not going to mess with him. So yeah, so that's essentially how this weekend went. Mr. Coffee was laughing at me because, okay, so I have a subscriber named April, and April was laughing at me because in my Wish video, if you saw the Wish haul video, I was pretty excited about that video because I bought a lot of discount stuff for, like, some of it was pretty decently priced. The other stuff was like overpriced, but I bought a good bit of stuff to show you guys just because, it just seemed like a fun video to make. Like, I randomly want to just do hauls of these really tiny little, like, what you think you're getting versus what you actually get stores. So I decided one night, because I had stayed up late, I was going to shop on Wish, and that's what I did, which is where the haul video comes from. Well, Mr. Coffee was laughing, and he goes, oh, did they finally get to see what happens whenever you diamond paint with a single placer? So apparently I do this often. Whenever I have a diamond painting pen and it doesn't have a slot for a multi-placer, it's just a single placer, I will diamond paint with both hands, because in my brain, that's multi-placing. And my subscriber April was just like, you just couldn't help yourself, could you? Look, I tried real hard to diamond paint with one pen, but it's so weird. I am someone who likes to multi-place, so I'm like, so going from multi-placing to single placing, look, listen, it's not my jam. It's just not my jam. And multi-placing isn't for everyone. I get that, but single placing also isn't for everyone. I am not a single placing type gal. I want to get my stuff done and get it done now. Like the fact that I just sat here for an hour and got this entire outline done. Look, listen, I purposely didn't work on this last night because I didn't think I would get a lot done in a short period of time, but I'm learning quite quickly. As long as I'm running my mouth, apparently I can get a lot done. So so as long as I just keep talking, I can get a lot done. But I don't have much time left on here because I do need to wake Mr. Coffee up to walk the dogs. It's cold outside. I'm not walking those dogs. I need to wake him up to walk the dogs, and then I need to get Maggie up, get her dressed, because for some reason, I bought the kids new clothes because they were in desperate need of, like, Orion had outgrown his pants in like the last week and a half. I'm like, did you eat a tiny human? Like, why are you so tall? Are you the one and only Highlander? I don't get it. Make it make sense why these kids grow out of their clothes so quickly. So I had to buy them new clothes. And I bought Maggie new clothes, but then all she wants to do, like, the new shirts and stuff came with masks and hair ties. And so all she wants to do is like wake up to get dressed now. So I'm going to very happily wake my daughter up and be like, it's time to get dressed, and hope and pray that she doesn't do like she did yesterday where she just jumped out of bed with the clothes already on. She's like, I'm already dressed. And I'm like, why would you fall asleep in those, Tootsie? And she's like, well, Mom, I just wanted to make sure that they fit and that they were going to be comfy. I wanted to wear them in a little bit before I have to walk around all day. At least I'm laying down sleeping instead of walking around in them all day. And I'm like, you know what? You do your thing. It's your world. Do your thing, boo-boo. I don't even care anymore. Like, I'm one of those moms. Like, I'm a helicopter mom, but I'm a very lenient mom when it comes to the kids. I never even got a chance to text Minna this weekend because we were so busy doing God knows what. So I have to message her today to see how she's doing. But other than that, I'm just going to keep trucking on our Artemisa here. We're on day 8 of working on her. So the fact that I just got almost this entire black outline done, and we're already over, oh, you can't even see up there. We're already over here at the heart. So this is the bottom of her chin, and then that's the heart. So essentially I got all that black outline done. This is a little bit of black outline that I have left. And then I am essentially done with the black outline, and then I can fill it in, which is how I've been going through this. I do plan on making a video on the tips and my tips and tricks on how to work on squares, because it seems like a hot topic. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, Miss Coffee, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips and tricks on how I work on squares, how I work on diamond paintings in general. I think you guys might enjoy it. It's not gonna be a super long video. It'll go in the pocket guide for diamond painting. So yeah, there will be that video coming out here soon. And hopefully my mug press isn't broken, and if it is, Cricut will be replacing it. So yes, but with that said, folks, I should probably get out of here before my phone shuts off, because I'm not sure how long it will record after I hit that hour mark. But one last thing. So I'm sitting here yesterday, and I was telling you guys earlier about the seagull being taken away by the wind. That's a normal thing. Now, I don't know why there's seagulls around here, because there's no large bodies of water, but there's seagulls. So I'm like, okay. But they will come around here, and I've watched these seagulls straight up take trash bags off people's cars. Like, a group of them will get together and steal your trash off your, like, people will put their trash bags on their car to drive it to the dumpster, and the seagulls will come by and swoop down and take the trash can and knock it on the ground, or the trash bag and knock it on the ground so they can open it and eat all the food on the inside of it. Well, I watched a seagull yesterday. It was eating, some little kid was eating french fries and knocked them on the ground. And I watched this seagull go over and try to eat the french fry, but every time he got close to it, the wind would blow really hard, and it would blow him away from the french fry. And you could tell the poor little bird was getting frustrated because it kept, like, stomping back over there and then squawking. And then the one last time that it tried, it started flapping its wings to try to fight the wind, but it caught the wind on an updrift, I guess, and you just see this bird go, choo, choo, choo. I'm like, sometimes it's just not meant to be. If you were meant to have something, you will have it. If you're not meant to have it, look, listen, the wind will take you away. But with that said, folks, I got to get out of here. I got to go wake up the family and get my day started. And then, yeah, we're going to get on with our day. So thank you guys so much for listening to my Miss Coffee's morning rambles here on the channel. I hope it brought you some enjoyment. I hope you got some work done on your kit. I know I got a lot of work done, so I'm pretty excited. So again, thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble. It is so much appreciated. It's therapeutic for me to be able to get the rambles out with you guys, and I'm glad you guys enjoy the story. So with that said, if you're new to the channel and would like to see more random crazy videos just like this one, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, it's random. But with that said, I must now bid you adieu. But not before reminding you that it's hard out here in these crafty streets, so please stay safe and wear your mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face out in public, keep your 6 feet, and always try to be kind, be courteous, be cool. Bye, guys.